In the quiet town of Hyde, Greater Manchester, Dr. Harold Shipman was a familiar, reassuring presence. He was Fred to many, the dependable family doctor. Patients saw a man of medicine, a pillar of their community. He had a calm demeanour, a listening ear. He visited the elderly in their homes, a comforting figure in times of illness and frailty. This image, carefully cultivated over years, was a lie. Behind the benign smile and the stethoscope lurked a darkness few could comprehend, a darkness that turned healing hands into instruments of death. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing, preying on the most vulnerable. The trust placed in a doctor is profound, almost sacred. Shipman exploited this trust with a cold, calculated efficiency. He moved through his community, a spectre of death disguised as a healer. His patients, often elderly women living alone, welcomed him into their homes. They saw a dedicated physician. They could not see the abyss in his eyes, the monstrous intent hidden behind a professional veneer. This betrayal, so absolute and profound, is what made his crimes uniquely terrifying. The contrast between the public persona and the private reality was stark, a chasm of deceit. This horrifying duality is the bedrock of Shipman's dark saga, a chilling testament to the evil that can hide in plain sight. Dr. Shipman's chosen weapon was as insidious as his betrayal: morphine, a potent opioid, essentially medical-grade heroin. He had easy access to it, a tool of his trade meant to alleviate suffering, not extinguish life. In his hands, this powerful painkiller became a silent, swift agent of death. He would visit his elderly patients, often under the guise of a routine checkup or to administer a supposed pain-relieving injection. They trusted him. They felt the prick of the needle, perhaps a fleeting moment of discomfort, then a drift into unconsciousness, a slide into a death that appeared peaceful, natural. The lethal doses he administered were carefully calculated, enough to kill, but often in a way that mimicked the symptoms of old age or existing medical conditions. Shipman understood this. He exploited the very vulnerabilities of his aging patient population. He knew that death in these circumstances was often expected, less questioned. This understanding of medical perception, of how death certificates were signed and how grieving families reacted, formed a crucial part of his deadly methodology. He was a craftsman of murder, his tools the syringe and the trust he engendered. Consider Annie Cooper, a vibrant woman of 80. She loved her garden and cherished her independence. Dr. Shipman was her trusted doctor. One day she was fine, the next she was gone. Shipman certified her death as due to old age. Her family had little reason to suspect him. Her story is one thread in Shipman's dark tapestry. Nora Nuttall, aged 64, was found dead after a visit from Shipman. He claimed it was a pain-killing injection. Her death was recorded as natural. The pattern was emerging. These were not anonymous statistics. They were mothers, grandmothers, friends, neighbours. They deserved care, not a clandestine execution. The victims were predominantly elderly women, often living alone. This demographic was particularly vulnerable. Shipman preyed on their isolation. Each victim represents a profound betrayal. Harold Shipman was not merely a killer. He was a master manipulator of the very systems designed to ensure patient safety and medical accountability. He understood the bureaucracy of death. After administering a lethal injection, he would often be the one to certify the death, attributing it to natural causes or pre-existing conditions. He falsified medical records with chilling proficiency, adding fictitious entries to support his fabricated causes of death. These entries would describe symptoms the patient never had, conditions they never suffered from, all to create a plausible, albeit false, medical narrative for their sudden demise. His pen was as deadly as his syringe. His position as a sole practitioner for much of his killing spree afforded him a dangerous degree of autonomy. He operated within a cocoon of professional respectability, shielded by the inherent trust society places in doctors. Section 5. A Daughter's Doubt. The Unravelling of Kathleen Grundy. Angela Woodruff, daughter of Kathleen Grundy, was suspicious of Dr. Harold Shipman. Mrs. Grundy, an active 81-year-old, died suddenly in June 1998. Shipman had visited her that morning and certified her death. A new will left her estate to Shipman, raising suspicions. Angela, a solicitor, found the will crudely typed and suspect. She contacted the police, voicing her concerns. Section 6. Beneath the Soil. Grim Truths Unearthed. The exhumation of Kathleen Grundy's remains was a grim necessity, a somber turning point in the investigation. It was a deeply unsettling process, disturbing the peace of the departed, yet essential to uncover the truth hidden beneath the earth. Forensic pathologists tasked with this delicate and macabre duty meticulously examined Mrs. Grundy's body. Their findings were unequivocal and horrifying. She had not died of old age, as Dr. Shipman had certified. Instead, her tissues contained a fatal concentration of diamorphine, the very drug Shipman had access to and had been administering to his patients with chilling regularity. This single stark piece of forensic evidence transformed the investigation. What had begun with suspicions about a forged will now pointed directly towards murder. The presence of diamorphine was the smoking gun, the undeniable proof of foul play. It validated Angela Woodruff's fears and sent a shockwave through the investigating team and the community. If Dr. Shipman had murdered Kathleen Grundy, how many others had met a similar fate? The question hung heavy in the air, pregnant with a dreadful unfolding horror. The scope of his potential crimes began to dawn on authorities. The police, armed with this damning forensic proof, widened their inquiry. Section 7. The Ledger of Death. Confronting the Unthinkable Scale. As detectives delved deeper, the true, horrifying scale of Harold Shipman's crimes began to surface like a monstrous creature emerging from the depths. They meticulously reviewed patient files, death certificates, and cremation forms. They cross-referenced dates of his visits with dates of death. A chilling pattern solidified, an unnaturally high mortality rate among his patients, particularly elderly women who died suddenly at home. The numbers were staggering, far exceeding what would be statistically normal for a general practice of its size. Each file reviewed, each death certificate examined, added another potential name to a growing list of victims. The investigation became a grim accounting, a ledger of death. Section 8. In the Glare of Justice, the Trial of Harold Shipman. The trial of Harold Shipman commenced in October 1999 at Preston Crown Court. The nation was transfixed, watching as the details of his horrific crimes were laid bare. Shipman faced charges for the murder of 15 female patients, though investigators suspected many, many more. The prosecution, led by Mr. Justice Forbes, meticulously presented its case, painting a picture of a cold, calculating killer who used his medical knowledge and the trust of his patients as weapons. They detailed his methods, the lethal injections of diamorphine, the falsification of medical records, the forged will of Kathleen Grundy. Shipman himself remained a chilling enigma throughout the proceedings. He pleaded not guilty, maintaining an air of detached arrogance, offering no explanation, no remorse. He watched the evidence unfold, the testimonies of grieving relatives, the cold, hard facts from forensic experts, with an unnerving composure. His defense team attempted to argue that the deaths were natural, or that if diamorphine was present, it was for therapeutic pain relief, not murder. But the weight of evidence, particularly the pattern of deaths and the falsified records, was overwhelming. The jury listened intently, day after day, to the grim litany of his betrayal. The courtroom drama was intense. Section 9. Shattered trust, a profession in crisis. The conviction of Harold Shipman sent seismic shockwaves through the British medical profession. The very foundation of the doctor-patient relationship, trust, had been grotesquely violated by one of its own. How could a man sworn to heal, to do no harm, become such a prolific harbinger of death? The case exposed critical systemic failures, inadequate monitoring of controlled drugs, insufficient scrutiny of death certification processes, and a culture that perhaps hesitated to question the actions of fellow professionals. The medical community was forced into a period of intense, painful self-examination. Public confidence in doctors, while still generally high, was undeniably shaken. Patients looked at their own GPs with a new, unsettling flicker of doubt. Section 10. The enduring shadow, Shipman's dark legacy. Harold Shipman took his own life in Wakefield Prison in January 2004, on the eve of his 58th birthday. He left no note, no confession, no explanation for the decades of murder. His suicide brought a final grim closure to his own life, but it offered little solace to the families of his victims. They were denied the chance to ever hear him admit his guilt or explain the monstrous why behind his actions. The silence he maintained in life about his motives extended into death, leaving a void of unanswered questions and unexpressed remorse that continues to haunt those he wronged. The impact on the victims' families remains immeasurable. Grief was compounded by the horror of betrayal, the knowledge that a trusted caregiver was a cold-blooded killer. Anniversaries, birthdays, and quiet moments of reflection are forever tainted by the manner of their loved ones' deaths. Many families struggled with guilt, wondering if they should have seen something, suspected something. The Shipman inquiry provided some answers about the systemic failures, but the personal pain, the intimate sense of violation, endures. Their stories are a constant, tragic reminder of the human cost of Shipman's evil. Beyond the immediate families, the Shipman case left an indelible scar on the national psyche and prompted significant legal and procedural reforms.